I dedicated 10 years of my life building my father's small plumbing business into a regional powerhouse, working 70-hour weeks while my brother Tyler partied through college. When Dad announced his retirement plan, I was stunned. 80% ownership to Tyler, 20% to me. The golden child would take everything I built while I got scraps. Little did they know what would happen when I finally walked away. If you want to hear how this all played out, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to follow along. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood in Michigan, I watched my father Frank build his small plumbing company from scratch. He taught me the value of hard work from an early age, and I respected him for it. When I was 12, I started helping out during summers, learning the trade from the ground up. Our family dynamic changed dramatically when my mother passed away, when I was 14, leaving Dad to raise me and my younger brother Tyler, who was only 10 at the time. Without my mom's balanced influence, Dad's parenting style became increasingly lopsided. While he pushed me to work harder and take on more responsibility, Tyler received endless understanding and support. "Your brother needs more attention since he lost his mom at such a young age," Dad would explain whenever I questioned the double standard. I tried to be understanding, stepping up to fill the void left by Mom's absence and helping Dad however I could. By high school, the pattern was clear. I worked weekends at the family business while Tyler got to enjoy sports and social activities. "You have a natural talent for this business," Eli, Dad would say, while Tyler needs to explore and find his path. I accepted this reasoning, believing that eventually my hard work would be recognized and rewarded. When college came around, I stayed local and studied business management, continuing to work part-time at the family company. I paid most of my tuition through scholarships and part-time work, graduating with honors and minimal debt. Meanwhile, Tyler attended an expensive private college across the country, studying liberal arts with all expenses paid by Dad. During breaks, I worked at the business, while Tyler traveled with friends with Dad, proudly funding his finding himself adventures. After graduation, I faced a crucial decision. Several prestigious companies had offered me positions with excellent starting salaries and advancement opportunities. The rational choice seemed obvious: take one of these offers and build my own future. But Dad made an emotional appeal. "This business is your legacy, Eli. I always dreamed of passing it down to my sons. With your business knowledge, you could take what I built to the next level." That appeal to family legacy and my father's dreams resonated deeply with me. After much consideration, I turned down the corporate offers and committed myself fully to growing the family business. I believed I was investing in something that would eventually become mine, a place where my business education and personal connection would create something special. At 24, I gradually took over the day-to-day operations as Dad stepped into a more advisory role. The company was still small, just Dad, me, and 3 employees servicing residential plumbing needs in our immediate area. Revenue was stable but modest, and operations were stuck in the past. Dad still kept records on paper, scheduled jobs over the phone, and relied on word of mouth for new customers. With Dad's reluctant blessing, I began modernizing operations. I implemented digital scheduling software that optimized our service routes, cutting travel time by 30%. I introduced accounting software that gave us better visibility into our finances and job profitability. Perhaps most importantly, I created a customer relationship management system that allowed us to follow up with past clients, generate reviews, and track customer satisfaction. Dad was skeptical at first. "We never needed computers to fix pipes," he grumbled. But as efficiency improved and customer feedback became increasingly positive, he acknowledged the value of these changes. What he never fully appreciated was the countless hours I spent implementing these systems, often working until midnight after spending all day on job sites. During these early years of transformation, I lived modestly in a small apartment, reinvesting most of my salary back into the business. I hired carefully, looking for skilled tradespeople who shared my vision of exceptional service. Within 3 years, we had grown to a team of 15, and our revenue had tripled. We expanded from purely residential work to commercial contracts, which brought more stable, higher-value projects. The company continued to thrive under my leadership. We expanded service areas to cover 3 neighboring counties. Based on customer feedback and market analysis, I added complementary services, HVAC installation and maintenance, electrical work, and eventually home renovations. Each expansion was calculated, preceded by hiring the right certified professionals and ensuring our quality standards would be maintained. Our fleet grew from 2 aging vans to 12 branded trucks that served as mobile billboards throughout the region. The company name, Franklin Plumbing and Home Services, named after my father, became synonymous with reliability and quality workmanship. We won several small business awards and received recognition from the Chamber of Commerce for our apprenticeship program, which I designed to attract and develop skilled trade workers during an industry-wide shortage. Throughout this period of growth, Dad became increasingly hands-off with the business, but remained the primary owner. He enjoyed the fruits of the company's success, upgrading to a larger home, taking fishing trips to Alaska, buying a boat, while I continued to reinvest most of my earnings back into our expansion. I did not begrudge him these pleasures. After all, he had built the foundation upon which I was expanding, and I expected that eventually the company would become mine. This narrative was disrupted when Tyler returned from his post-college adventures. After graduation, he had spent 2 years backpacking through Europe, working occasional bartending gigs, but mostly funded by Dad's generous Finding Yourself allowance. When he finally returned home at 26, he suddenly showed interest in the family business that was now thriving under my management. Without consulting me, Dad created a new executive position for Tyler, Director of Business Development. This title came with an office company car and a salary nearly matching mine, despite Tyler having absolutely no experience in the industry or proven value to the company. When I questioned this decision privately, Dad said, "He is my son too, Eli. He deserves a chance to be part of what we are building." I tried to be supportive of my brother, truly. I created simple tasks to help him learn the business, accompanying experienced technicians on jobs, sitting in on client meetings, reviewing our service offerings. I spent hours explaining the operational systems I had built, the employee management philosophy that kept our team loyal, and our customer service standards that had built our reputation. The problem started almost immediately. Tyler was frequently late to work, often missing important client meetings entirely. When he did attend, he was usually unprepared, having not reviewed any of the materials I had provided. Yet somehow in meetings with Dad, Tyler would present my ideas as his own, speaking confidently about concepts he barely understood. Tyler has such natural business instincts, Dad would marvel, seemingly blind to the fact that Tyler was simply parroting concepts I had carefully explained to him the day before. I tried to be a team player, telling myself that as long as the business benefited, it did not matter who got the credit. Tyler's approach to client relations was particularly problematic. He enjoyed the social aspects of business development, taking potential clients to expensive lunches and golf outings on the company account. During these outings, he would make promises our company could not keep, put impossible deadlines, scope expansions without appropriate price increases, priority scheduling that disrupted our entire operation. Repeatedly, I found myself working late into the night, revising contracts, calling clients to reset expectations, and reorganizing our work schedules to accommodate Tyler's impulsive promises. When I would raise these issues with Dad, he would dismiss my concerns. "That is just sibling rivalry talking. Your brother has a gift for connecting with people that you never had, Eli. Numbers and systems are important, but relationships build businesses." This pattern continued for months, with Tyler taking credit for successes and me quietly cleaning up his mistakes. The situation reached a critical point, with what our team later called the hotel disaster. Without consulting me or our legal advisor, Tyler negotiated a major contract with a regional hotel chain for complete plumbing and HVAC overhauls across 6 properties. I first learned about this deal when Tyler proudly presented the signed contract at our management meeting. My heart sank as I reviewed the terms: impossible deadlines, below-cost pricing, and penalty clauses that could bankrupt us if we failed to meet the timeline. A quick calculation showed we stood to lose approximately $200,000 on the deal, more than an entire year of profits. For 2 weeks, I barely slept. I personally called each hotel property manager, building rapport and assessing their actual needs versus what was in the contract. I renegotiated terms, timelines, and pricing directly with the chain's facilities director. I reorganized our entire project calendar, brought on qualified subcontractors for the first time, and developed a phased implementation plan that would allow us to meet critical deadlines while spreading out less urgent work. Through sheer determination and countless hours of work, I transformed the potential disaster into a profitable long-term relationship. The hotel chain was so impressed with our eventual execution that they signed a 3-year maintenance contract worth twice the value of the original deal. Yet at our company celebration dinner, Dad toasted Tyler for landing the big fish that would take our company to the next level. My contribution in saving the deal received only a passing acknowledgement. That night, I sat in my car in the restaurant parking lot for an hour, questioning everything I had sacrificed for the family business. Despite these challenges, the company continued to grow. By the 10-year mark after I joined full-time, we had reached $5 million in annual revenue with 45 employees. We had become one of the most respected service companies in our region, with a reputation for quality that allowed us to charge premium rates while maintaining a full project calendar. I had built relationships with suppliers that secured us preferential pricing. I implemented an employee profit-sharing program that resulted in industry-leading retention rates and a waiting list of qualified technicians wanting to join our team. I began researching locations for a second branch office, creating detailed projections showing how we could double our coverage area and revenue within 3 years. Then came Dad's health scare. At 65, he suffered a minor heart attack while on his boat. Though he recovered quickly, the incident forced conversations about succession planning that had long been avoided. I worked with our company attorney to draft what I considered a fair plan, 50-50 ownership, split between Tyler and me, with me serving as CEO and Tyler continuing in his business development role with a generous compensation package. During Dad's recovery, Tyler suddenly became the devoted son, spending hours at Dad's house, taking him to medical appointments and having long private conversations about the future. I was excluded from these discussions, told that Dad needed rest and we should not bother him with business matters during his recovery. I noticed subtle changes in Dad's attitude following these conversations. He began questioning decisions I had made, suggesting that perhaps the company had grown too corporate under my leadership. He would casually mention how Tyler had such innovative ideas about where the company could go next. These comments concerned me, but I attributed them to Dad's vulnerability after his health scare and focused on keeping the business running smoothly. 3 months after his heart attack, Dad called a family meeting at his home to discuss the future of Franklin Plumbing and Home Services. I arrived with my detailed succession proposal, complete with market valuations, growth projections, and a leadership transition timeline. Tyler showed up empty-handed, but with a confident smile that immediately set off alarm bells in my mind. Boys, my recent health situation has made me realize I will not be around forever, Dad began. It is time I formalized the succession plan for the company. My heart raced with anticipation, expecting him to finally acknowledge my years of dedication and sacrifice. Instead, what followed was the most shocking betrayal of my life. Dad announced his retirement effective immediately, with a succession plan that granted 80% ownership to Tyler and 20% to me. Even worse, Tyler would be named Chief Executive Officer with me, offered the role of Chief Operations Officer, essentially continuing to do all the work while reporting to my inexperienced brother. Tyler needs the security of controlling interest, Dad explained, avoiding my eyes. You have always been the capable one, Eli. You can take care of yourself no matter what. Your brother needs this opportunity more than you do. I sat in stunned silence as Tyler immediately began talking about his vision for taking the company in exciting new directions. He mentioned partnering with app developers, creating a subscription service model, and even franchising, all ideas that showed a fundamental misunderstanding of our business model and client base. The meeting ended with me still speechless, Tyler excitedly discussing implementation timelines with Dad and a family legacy built on my decade of sacrifice slipping through my fingers. After the meeting, I waited until Tyler left before confronting Dad privately. 10 years of suppressed feelings erupted as I laid out everything I had sacrificed for the company. The career opportunities I had declined, the nights and weekends I had worked, the relationships that had fallen apart because of my dedication to his business. I understand you are upset, Eli, Dad said, his voice frustratingly calm. and I appreciate everything you have done for the company. I do, but this decision is final. The paperwork has already been drafted. Why? I demanded, my voice breaking. Just tell me why Tyler deserves 80% of what I built when he contributed almost nothing. Dad sighed, finally meeting my eyes. Tyler is more like me. He has vision, charisma. He struggles in ways you never did. You have always been self-sufficient, disciplined. You will succeed no matter what circumstances you face. Tyler needs this structure, this safety net. The truth hit me like a physical blow. My competence, my work ethic, my reliability, the very traits that should have made me the obvious choice to lead the company, had actually worked against me. In my father's eyes, I did not need his help or acknowledgement precisely because I had proven I could succeed without it. So I am being punished for being capable, I said quietly, while Tyler is rewarded for being unreliable. That is not fair, Eli, Dad replied, but his eyes told me I had hit the mark. I left that night with my mind spinning, unable to process the magnitude of this betrayal. The next day, I attempted to reason with Tyler, hoping he might recognize the inherent unfairness of the situation. I proposed an alternative equal ownership, with me serving as CEO and him continuing in business development, with an increased salary to recognize his status. Tyler's response revealed just how dramatically he misunderstood the business. "Thanks for keeping the company running all these years, bro," he said with casual dismissal. "But it is time for some fresh thinking. I am already planning to streamline operations." "Streamline operations?" I questioned. "What exactly does that mean?" "Well, for starters, we have too many long-term employees with high salaries. We could replace them with younger guys at entry-level rates. And that profit-sharing program is just giving away money we could be keeping." I stared at him, horrified. He was planning to dismantle the very things that had built our reputation and success, our experienced team, and their dedication to quality. "You should be grateful Dad is giving you any ownership at all." Tyler continued, misreading my silence as acceptance. "Honestly, your whole approach to business is just so boring. Clients want excitement, innovation, not just reliable pipes." I left that meeting understanding that not only was I being pushed aside, but everything I had built was in danger of being destroyed by Tyler's misguided vision. Over the next week, I carefully considered my options. I consulted with a business attorney about my legal rights, only to discover that without written agreements regarding my eventual ownership, I had little recourse. The company legally belonged to Dad, and he had every right to distribute it however he chose. The attorney suggested I could file a lawsuit based on verbal promises and my years of sweat equity, but warned that such cases rarely succeed and would destroy any remaining family relationships. Even if I won, I would be forced to work alongside family members who had betrayed me or cash out for far less than the company's true value. For the first time in a decade, I allowed myself to consider alternatives. I reached out to former college friends who had taken corporate paths while I built my father's business. Their careers had advanced significantly. Many now held senior positions with six-figure salaries, equity packages, and work-life balance I had never experienced. One night, I calculated the true cost of my loyalty to the family business. If I had accepted one of the corporate offers after college and progressed at even an average pace, I would likely be earning double my current salary, with stock options and benefits far exceeding what our small company provided. The financial sacrifice alone was staggering, not counting the personal cost in relationships and missed opportunities. After sleepless nights weighing my options, I made the most difficult decision of my life. I would walk away from everything I had built. I drafted a detailed resignation letter, documenting my contributions to the company over the past decade. I created comprehensive transition documents for all the processes I had established, knowing that without them, the company would struggle immediately. Simultaneously, I discreetly reached out to contacts at companies that had tried to recruit me years ago. Despite my lack of corporate experience, my track record of growing a successful business made me an attractive candidate. Within 2 weeks, I secured a position as operations director with a national construction firm, offering a 50% salary increase, performance bonuses, and realistic path to executive leadership. With my new position secured, I called a meeting with Dad and Tyler. They arrived expecting a discussion about the transition to the new ownership structure. Instead, I placed my resignation letter on the table. Effective immediately, I am resigning from Franklin Plumbing and Home Services. I stated, my voice steady despite the emotion churning inside me. I have accepted a position with National Construction Partners as their regional operations director. The shock on their faces was almost worth the pain of the past weeks. Dad recovered first, his expression shifting from surprise to concern. You cannot just leave, Eli. The company needs you. We can revisit the succession plan, make some adjustments. The paperwork is already drafted, I replied, echoing his words to me. My decision is final. Tyler, displaying his typical overconfidence, shrugged. We will be just fine without you. Maybe this is for the best. Now we can implement changes without resistance. I placed my company vehicle keys, phone, and laptop on the table. I have prepared transition documents for all major systems and processes. I suggest you review them carefully. I stood to leave, then paused. I wish you both the best of luck. You are going to need it. I walked through the office one last time, saying goodbye to the team I had built, people who had become like family over the years. Many had tears in their eyes, having already heard rumors about the ownership transition. This place will not be the same without you, my office manager said, hugging me. You built something special here. So did you, I replied. All of you did. I walked out the door, not looking back. The immediate aftermath of my departure was exactly as I had anticipated. Within the first month, 3 key employees resigned, unable to work under Tyler's chaotic management style. 2 of them reached out to ask if my new company was hiring, which it was. Tyler, true to his word, immediately began implementing exciting changes. He rebranded the company with a flashy new logo and slogan that confused longtime customers. He replaced our proven scheduling system with a cheaper alternative that regularly double-booked technicians. He hired his college friend with no industry experience as the new marketing director on a 6-figure salary. Most damagingly, he started turning away the boring maintenance contracts that had provided our steady income in favor of pursuing high-profile, high-risk projects, similar to the hotel disaster I had saved him from previously. Without my careful contract review and project management, these jobs quickly went over budget and past deadlines. I heard about these developments through former colleagues and occasional texts from Dad, who initially tried to convince me to return. Tyler is still learning, he would write. We could make you co-CEO if you came back, but the ownership structure remained unchanged in these offers, and I politely declined each time. In my new position, I thrived. Free from family dynamics, my skills and work ethic were recognized and rewarded based on results alone. Within 6 months, I received my first promotion and was given responsibility for streamlining operations across 3 states. Meanwhile, Franklin Plumbing and Home Services continued its decline. By the 6-month mark, they had lost 40% of their client base, primarily the loyal, long-term commercial accounts I had cultivated over years. Their online reviews, once consistently 5 stars, plummeted as service quality suffered under inexperienced management and high employee turnover. Tyler predictably blamed everyone but himself. According to mutual acquaintances, he complained about market conditions, disloyal employees, and even Eli's sabotage, though I had done nothing beyond leaving with my skills and knowledge. He never acknowledged that his own poor decisions were driving the company into the ground. Dad was forced to come out of retirement, returning to work 60-hour weeks at 66 years old, trying to stabilize the failing business. I felt genuine sadness, seeing his retirement dreams evaporate, but also a sense of vindication. The truth about who had truly built and maintained the company's success was becoming undeniably clear. 1 year after my departure, I received an unexpected call from Dad. His voice sounded older, heavy with emotion. Eli, he said after an uncomfortable silence, I made a terrible mistake. The company was now facing bankruptcy. They had lost their largest remaining contracts, been sued twice for substandard work, and were unable to make payroll for 2 consecutive pay periods. The business I had built to $5 million in annual revenue was now worth less than when I first joined it full-time a decade ago. I did not understand what you really contributed, Dad continued. I thought anyone could maintain what you had built. I was wrong, son. So terribly wrong. He asked if I would consider returning to help save the business. Under different circumstances, I might have felt satisfaction in this vindication. Instead, I felt only sadness for the employees who were losing their livelihoods and for Dad, whose retirement savings was evaporating with the company's value. I declined to return to the business, but offered to help as a consultant to stabilize operations. Over the next few months, I spent evenings and weekends helping Dad implement systems to stop the immediate bleeding. I connected him with a business broker who found a buyer, a larger regional service company willing to acquire the client list and hire some of the remaining employees. The sale price was barely enough to cover the company's debts, leaving nothing for Dad or Tyler. The new owners kept the Franklin name but removed Tyler from any management role, hiring him as a regular sales representative instead, a position he quit within a month, unwilling to work without executive authority. This difficult period actually led to healing in my relationship with Dad. Working together without the pressures of family ownership, he finally saw and acknowledged my skills. He apologized repeatedly for taking me for granted and for the fundamental unfairness of his succession plan. "I always saw your competence as something separate from me," he admitted during one of our consulting sessions. "I thought of the business as mine, and your contribution as just what was expected of a son." With Tyler, every small effort felt like a gift, something he chose to give rather than something I could count on. I rewarded the unreliable and penalized the faithful. I see that now. For my part, I found my new career deeply fulfilling. I advanced quickly, earning recognition based solely on results. 2 years after leaving the family business, I was promoted to vice president of operations, overseeing a division with $100 million in annual revenue, 20 times the size of Franklin Plumbing at its peak. More importantly, I found balance in my life that had never been possible before. I began dating again, eventually meeting Amanda, a project architect whose intelligence and ambition matched my own. We bought a house together, planning for a future that once seemed impossible while I was tethered to the family business. The most valuable lesson from this painful experience was learning to recognize my own worth. For years, I had accepted less than I deserved because of family obligations and the promise of eventual reward. I had allowed my father's and brother's assessments to define my value, rather than standing firm in what I knew to be true. Walking away was not an act of revenge, but of self-respect. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. Leaving behind something you helped build, because staying would cost you your dignity and self-worth. The company collapsed without me, not because I wished for its failure, but because the true foundation of its success had never been properly valued. Today, I maintain a cordial relationship with both Dad and Tyler. Dad has adjusted to retirement on his Social Security alone, occasionally doing consulting work to supplement his income. Tyler bounced between several sales jobs before finally finding moderate success in real estate. Our family dinners are less frequent, but more honest. The pretense of Tyler's business acumen has been dropped, and Dad no longer plays favorites quite so blatantly. I sometimes wonder what might have happened if Dad had recognized my value sooner, if the succession plan had been fair, if my decade of dedication had been rewarded rather than taken for granted. But I do not dwell on these thoughts. The path I was forced to take ultimately led me to greater success and happiness than I might have found had I remained in the family business. Have you ever had to walk away from something you helped build because you were not being valued? Did it lead to better things in your life? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. Thank you for listening, and remember, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth.